Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've ever had to deal with security compliance in your SAP landscape, you know that some tasks can be, well, a real headache. Today, we're going to break down one of the big ones, enabling FIPS 140-2. And I promise you, by the end of this, you'll see how what used to be a huge pain is now almost as easy as flipping a switch.
So let's just get right into it. Are you in a spot where you need to enable FIPS in your SAP systems? Maybe you're working with the public sector, or you've got a high-security contract breathing down your neck. If you're nodding along right now, then you are in exactly the right place.
Because what we're going to do today is slice right through all that complexity. We're going to look at the, frankly, awful old way of doing things, the beautifully simple new way, and, this is important, the critical details you just can't afford to miss. All right, let's jump in.
Okay, first things first. Before we get into all the how-tos, we've got to understand the what and the why. What in the world is FIPS, and why should you even care?
So, FIPS 140-2. It's not just some random string of letters and numbers. It's a major U.S. government security standard, and it's all about validating cryptographic modules, the stuff that does all the encryption. If you're working with federal agencies or in industries with super strict security rules, this thing isn't optional. It's a non-negotiable line-item requirement. It's basically the official seal of approval that says your encryption is tough enough.
Now, here's where the story gets really interesting. The way SAP has handled FIPS has changed a lot. It wasn't always this simple. Let's take a quick look back at how we got here.
It all really kicked off back in 2015 when SAP got its first FIPS certification from NIST. Then they got a recertification in 2017. But the real game changer, the moment everything got easier for folks like us, was the release of CommonCryptoLib version 8.4.42. That version, right there, that's the dividing line. That's what separates the hard way from the easy way.
Which brings us right to the heart of it all. We're going to compare the old, manual, error-prone method with the new, clean, and beautifully simple approach.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out perfectly. The old way, you are manually copying files around. It was tedious and it was so easy to mess up. But the worst part, the absolute worst, you had to do it all over again every single time you patched the kernel. It was like having to manually hotwire a circuit every time you wanted to turn on a light. The new way? It's a circuit breaker. You just flip one switch, a simple profile parameter, and you're good to go.
Let's just feel the pain of the old way for a second. For any version before 8.4.42, you had to extract the package, dig into a FIPS subdirectory, copy files, manually run a command to check a hash value just to make sure you didn't grab the wrong file, then restart. But look at step 6. That's the row kicker. Repeat after every kernel patch. It was this constant manual chore just waiting to be forgotten during a late-night patching session.
Okay, deep breath. Because thankfully for most of us, those days are over. Let's look at the modern way and see just how much better life is now. And here it is. This is the magic. The flip-a-switch method in all its glory. All those painful manual steps are gone, replaced by one of these two parameters. If you've got a NetWeaver ABAP system, you set CCL/FIPS/enable to 1. On a HANA system, you set CCL_FIPS_enabled to true. That's literally it. It's centralized, it's simple, and it sticks.
So this new process is just incredibly straightforward. If your system is on CommonCryptoLib 8.4.42 or higher, life is good. First, you just double-check you're on a minimum patch level. Then you just set that one little parameter for your system, do a quick restart, and that's it. You're done. No more copying files, no more manual hash checks, and the best part, no more redoing it after every single patch.
But whether you suffered through the old way or breezed through the new way, how do you actually know it worked? You can't just set it and forget it. You have to check. Verification is absolutely essential. And SAP gives us a simple, trusty command to do just that. It doesn't matter what version you're on, you can just go to your executable directory and run sapgenps cryptinfo. This little command is your single source of truth. This right here, this is what you want to see. This is your aha moment. When you run that command, if you see FIPS 140-2 equals yes and self-test equals okay, you can take a breath and relax. You have successfully enabled FIPS mode. It's clear, it's unmistakable, it's your proof.
All right, now, as easy as this new process is, this is enterprise software we're talking about. And you know there's always some fine print, right? There are a couple of really critical things you absolutely have to know before you go flipping that switch.
And this is the big one. I really want you to pay attention here. SAP Note 2117112 is very, very clear about this. Turning on FIPS mode can come with a significant performance hit. This isn't a maybe, it's a very real possibility you need to plan for.
And this isn't just some vague slowdown either. The SAP notes get specific, pointing to certain algorithms like RSA and AES on particular operating systems. This is exactly why you cannot just enable this in production on a Friday afternoon and hope for the best. The golden rule here is to always test performance in a non-production system after you enable FIPS. You need to see how it impacts your specific workload.
Okay, another really key point. Just because you enable FIPS for your NetWeaver or HANA system, that does not mean every single SAP product you use is suddenly FIPS compliant. Compliance is very specific to the component itself.
So if we look at a few examples here, CommonCryptoLib, the thing we've been talking about, is compliant once you turn it on. Great. The SAP 3D Visual Enterprise Generator became compliant, but only from a specific release onward. But then you have other products like SAP Cloud Integration that, as of now, don't have that official FIPS certification. The big takeaway here is you have to verify the compliance of each and every product in your landscape. Don't assume.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's boil it all down to the 3 most important things you need to walk away with today. Here's your checklist, your 3 golden rules. 1. Always check your CommonCryptoLib version first. That tells you everything. Are you on the hard path or the easy path? 2. If you are on version 8.4.42 or higher, please use the parameter method. It is so much simpler and safer. And 3, and I can't say this enough, no matter which path you take, always verify with SAP Gen Crypt Info. Trust, but verify.
So we've seen how this once really complicated, annoying task has been made incredibly simple, all thanks to some smart software evolution. And that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know you can enable a major security standard like FIPS with just the flip of a switch, what other complex, manual, painful processes in your own landscape are just sitting there waiting for a simpler solution?